All right, let's dive into the story of a machine that's so much more than just a pile of parts. We're talking about an aircraft that's become a real symbol of engineering skill and, just immense national pride. This is the story of the JF-17 Thunder.
This line was reportedly overheard on the factory floor, and it just perfectly captures the feeling. It really speaks to that deep, emotional bond between this jet and the people who build it. This isn't just about military tech, right? It's about a nation's identity.
So, how do you even begin to build something like that? Well, it's a heck of a journey. It all starts with a very real need. And from there, it's all about careful design, incredibly precise manufacturing, and some absolutely grueling tests, all before it ever gets to shine on the world stage. Let's start at the very beginning. Okay, so Chapter 1, a jet is born. And like a lot of great stories, this one starts with a pretty big problem. Before the Thunder came along, Pakistan's Air Force was dealing with a major headache. Its fleet was getting old.
And the answer to that problem? The JF-17, which stands for Joint Fighter 17. The whole idea was to create a modern fighter that could do a bit of everything, but without breaking the bank. It was born from this really strategic partnership, and, fun fact, in China, where it was co-developed, it's called the FC-1, or Fighter China 1. Pretty straightforward, huh?
So, you've got this mix of all these different, older planes. The JF-17 was meant to be the new workhorse, the one jet that could step in and replace this entire collection. We're not just talking about adding a new plane. This was about totally revamping and modernizing the whole Air Force.
And check out how fast this all happened. We're talking early 2000s, and it's still just an idea on paper. Fast forward to November 2009, and the first jets are being handed over. By early 2010, a full squadron is up and running. That is an incredibly swift journey from blueprint to sky.
All right, let's pull back the curtain and step inside the factory. Because building an icon like this, it takes an almost crazy, obsessive level of precision at every single step.
Putting one of these together is like conducting a symphony of engineering. It all starts with crafting these super precise parts with computer-controlled machines. Then the big pieces, the fuselage, the wings, are joined together. After that comes the engine, the heart of the beast. And finally, they install the brain, all the complex electronics and flight systems.
Listen to the kind of chatter you'd hear on the factory floor, 22mm dead on. We're talking about a world where every single millimeter matters, and making sure every single part is exactly the same is absolutely crucial. And this one, wow, absolute precision. They're not just eyeballing it, they're using actual laser grids to make sure every joint is perfect. When you're building a supersonic jet, there's just zero room for error. None. And then you get this, the final sign-off, the moment of relief and success. After who knows how many checks, the assembly is done. The physical jet is built, but its biggest tests are still yet to come. So, the jet is built, but before it gets anywhere near the sky, it has to go through this absolutely brutal series of tests on the ground to prove it's really, truly ready to fly.
Yeah, you can basically think of this as its final exam. They power up every single system, they test the ejection seat, which is super important, obviously, they push the engine to its absolute limit, and they even take it for its first little crawl down the taxiway. You gotta check every single box.
And that's it, the magic words, we are good to go. All that work, thousands and thousands of hours, all for this one moment. The jet has passed its ground tests and is finally cleared for the sky. Okay, now for the really fun part, the showdown. See, it's one thing to build a jet. It's a whole other thing to prove it can hang with the big dogs on the world stage. And that's exactly what happened at Air Show Turkey in 2011, where it flew alongside a true legend, the American F-16 Fighting Falcon. You can see right away, these two planes have totally different styles. The F-16, it's all muscle, just punches straight up into a vertical climb. The JF-17 is a bit more calculated. It performs a steady, powerful ascent and then repositions for its first pass. Okay, let's look at the tail of the tape here. The F-16's turn? Super tight, just a little bit quicker. Its vertical action was intense. It did multiple Cuban 8s and a full loop. It even performed this thing called a high alpha pass, which is where they point the nose way up to show off low-speed control. But the JF-17, it's right there with it, pulling off these smooth, powerful turns and a high G wing over. And look at the finale.
They both end with the same epic move, a vertical climb with aileron rolls, a total crowd pleaser. So what about pure speed? Well, the JF-17 can hit a top speed of 1,910 kilometers per hour. To put that in perspective, that's Mach 1.6, way faster than the speed of sound. It's a testament to its powerful engine and sleek design.
And it can get way up there, to a maximum altitude of 50,000 feet. That's a critical capability. It lets the jet fly high above any bad weather and well clear of all the commercial planes down below.
So what's the big picture here? Well, this wasn't just about a jet proving its specs on a sheet of paper. It was about capturing the world's attention and becoming this powerful symbol for its country.
And get this is just awesome. At the famous Farnborough Air Show, the JF-17 actually set a world record for the longest inverted flight. It even beat out the highly respected French Rafale in that specific maneuver. How cool is that?
See, it's not all about the numbers. The jet just had this style, this personality. At the Dubai Air Show, people absolutely loved it. It earned praise not just for what it could do, but for the way it did it. It wowed everyone, from the general public to the seasoned aviation pros.
So you can see its world tour right here. From just being on display at Farnborough, to its flying debut in Turkey, setting records in Dubai, and even getting praise from royalty in Qatar. The JF-17thunder didn't just show up on the world stage, it made a huge statement.
And that really brings us to this final question, doesn't it? The story of the JF-17 is so much more than just a cool plane. It's about ambition, about collaboration, and about national pride. It really makes you think, in a world where everything is so connected, what does it truly mean for a nation to build its own wings and take to the sky on its own terms?